If this feels like a movie still, that's not by accident. But here's the twist. The image on the right isn't from a movie. It's a painting done over 30 years before the movie on the left. Today I want to show you how a shy painter named Edward Hopper became one of the greatest movie directors of all time that never actually made a movie, and how his blueprint that he used can help you and influence you on how you look at your photography. When Hopper was asked about his work, he would often say, if you could say it in words, there'd be no reason to paint. For Hopper, the visual elements, light and shadow, subject, and atmosphere, were all crucial in his belief that his art could capture experience, emotion, and things like that far better than words could. This video is about how he saw these four elements, how he influenced people far beyond the painter's world, and how he stayed true to his vision from beginning to end. In what context do you always hear these four words? Any conversation about photography or cinematography. Hopper loved going to the movies. He enjoyed studying the framing, the lighting, and probably the most important part was the narrative suggestion. Not story, but implication. His paintings feel like a pause moment, right before something happens, or right after something happened. That quality is why filmmakers gravitated toward him. Alfred Hitchcock is probably the most famous example. The Bates house from Psycho is essentially House by a Railroad painted by Hopper. Another Hitchcock movie that definitely has Hopper influence is Rear Window. The house on the hill, standing outside looking inside, that's pure Hopper. Loneliness. This is where the majority of Hopper videos on YouTube either start with or gravitate to. They say Hopper represents loneliness, solitude, isolation. Well, I don't agree with that, and apparently Hopper didn't either. He was quoted in 1961 with an art critic, also named Brian, as saying, "I think the loneliness thing is overdone." Those are the words of critics. I can't always agree with that, what the critics say, you know. It may be true, it may not be true. It's how the viewer looks on the pictures, what he sees in them. Simply put, loneliness is in the eye of the beholder, not necessarily the artist. What Hopper was interested in, it wasn't loneliness, it was stillness, observation, space to think. Silence doesn't always mean sadness. Distance doesn't always mean despair. That distinction really matters, especially for photographers. A German filmmaker, Wim Wenders, understood this more than most. Let's take a look at a couple of his films, Paris, Texas, and The American Friend. Wim once said, "In front of Edward Hopper's paintings, I always get this feeling that they are frames from movies that were never made. And I start wondering, what's the story that is beginning here? What will happen to these characters in the next moment? Look at this frame. The director staged all the props, the grills, the pots, the toy plane. Nothing's by accident. The lighting is deliberate. It looks like a painting because it was lit like a painting." And when you watch Paris, Texas, you can feel it. Lone figures in vast spaces, architecture that dwarfs emotion, and light doing more storytelling than dialogue. Not lonely, contemplative. While the cinema was quietly learning from Hopper, the art world was screaming fast with abstract expressionism. Hopper just whispered. He didn't follow. He didn't reinvent himself every decade. He didn't choose relevance, trends. He just focused on refining his craft and staying true to himself. Maybe the greatest gift he gave us as photographers. Two comedians. This was Hopper's last painting. Two figures on a bare stage. A quiet bow, no spectacle. It's not dramatic. It's not trending. It's just honest. After a lifetime of noise around him, Hopper exited just like he entered. Observant, restrained, true to his voice. And that's Hopper's real gift. Not loneliness, but integrity. Staying with your way of seeing the world, even when the world tells you to move on. In the next video, we're going to take this cinematic eye, break down the elements, and carve them into techniques that you can use in your photography. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it real.